Hello. So Devon's pronouns are she, her, and the first part of the talk will focus on Android app request inspection and provide a brief intro to configuring an environment to inspect Android app traffic using Android Audio and Audio Studio and Burp. And then the second part will focus on mixing different genres of music with the Taro and DJ controller with a short discussion of Camelot Notion and a demonstration showing methods to mash up different genres of music. And unlike most folks within InfoSec, Devin does have a SoundCloud. So I'm sure she'll be posting the link at some point for us to all follow and listen to her beats as we do the lead hacking. So off to you, Devin.
Okay, how's my audio?
Audio's great.
Perfect. I'm trying to see if I've got my webcam up since we've got a couple minutes here. Are you seeing me? Because I do not see me on the screen.
Yep, we see you.
Okay, perfect. Should I wait a few minutes or should I go ahead and start? So I'll go ahead and kick things off. So my name is Devin. The talk I'm presenting today is called Intercepting the Rhythm, an intro to interception and multi-genre mixing. First off, so yeah, I go by EchozAurora. That's the DJ name. Started off when I was initially producing music back in 2006 on MySpace and Newgrounds when that was still the thing to do. For work, I'm currently a senior security architect at Akamai, and I've been in InfoSec since 2014. So going into the first part of our talk, I'd like to start off with the tools that I'm going to use. Now, there's different tools you could use. First off, for emulation, you've got things like Genymotion, but in my opinion, I love just using Android Studio. First off, if you're going to be building Android apps, it's an IDE that's purpose-built for doing that. And to support that, they've got what they call AVDs, Android Virtual Devices. Now, these can be used to emulate all sorts of mobile devices back to like Nexus devices, Pixels. You can also run a lot of different Android operating systems on top of that. So if you need a CI level, for example, it's something that you can do. So for the interception portion, we're going to go ahead and use Burp Suite. Now, you could use a lot of things for this. MITM proxy is one example. Another thing that you could use is Charles proxy. But I mean, if you're already looking at getting into InfoSec, I fully recommend Burp Suite in general, especially if you're wanting to get into pen testing or do bug bounties, because it is an HTTPS proxy. So you can intercept secure connections, and in the community edition, which is available for free, you've got all sorts of manual tools that you can use to modify and replay and just all sorts of things. So first off, just prepare your environment. Now in Android Studio, once you've downloaded, you've got all your dependencies installed, you've got to start a new. Now you could select any sort of activity. I just did a basic activity because I'm not really building an application here. I'm just getting something, a file created just so I can get into the AVD. Now, one thing I do want to point out, you'll notice by default, Android is very, very backwards compatible. And that works out really well into our favor here. In fact, you see it defaults to API 16, that's Jelly Bean, and it tells you that'll run on 99.6% of devices. So once you get into Android Studio, there's AVD Manager, and that's what you go to start things up. Now, when you first load into this, this will be blank. What you do is go to create virtual device. And then you can choose what you're going to operate. Create the device. So in this case, I went with the next 5. And the key thing you want to do is make sure that you use the system image prior to NuGet. And the reasoning for that is starting in NuGet. Android apps don't trust user or admin added CAs for connection. So if you're trying to use like a brand new Android device, up your traffic, it's going to be a real pain to get into the HTTP. There's certainly ways around it, especially if you're going to root your device, but it's so easy to do it virtually and just use an older version of the operating system. A lot of apps, this is going to work. Like I said, Android's very backwards compatible by default, and most developers tend to opt for really far back devices. I think this was back in 2016. And that's high level. I think it defaulted to like. So as far as Android device settings go, the next page you got to go through, you can set a name for it. Just kind of confirms which operating system you're going to use. One thing I forgot to bring up on the previous slide, you'll notice I use an x86 edge because I'm just using this processor for instead of an actual. So you will get a better performance, but if you need to, you can emulate ARM. So the next part of this is preparing burps. So once you've downloaded burp, the first thing you're going to get into is this project phase. In Community Edition, you're not going to have things saved, so go ahead and click next, burp defaults. So once you've got burp open, you'll see the service start in your event log. You'll notice that's on your loopback address 80 by default. That is something you can. Now, one thing you're going to want to do next is go through the proxy, go to options, and click export PA certificate. So we're going to export that in DIR format. Now, when you go to save this, so you're just going to type in like burp.cer because that's a format that you're going to use with Android. Save, you can export it somewhere. It'll say it was exported. Now the next side is this. Go back and we'll launch the AVD emulator. So we'll go and click that play button on. Now, when the emulator opens up, you'll actually see the virtual device in this. The next thing you're going to need to do, though, is download your certificate. So that certificate that you just exported from burp, you're going to want to go ahead and email it to yourself. And then in that device, you're going to log into your Gmail. Go ahead and download the certificate. You'll show it in your downloads folder. Now, once you've gone into your downloads folder, you can click it. It'll spawn this little pop-up just to let you name the certificate and set the permissions. In this use, it'll be VPN and so, okay. It'll prompt you to set a PIN just because you are putting the certificate for the whole device. So if it's just an emulator, maybe use something easy to remember. And once it's completed, it'll tell you burp is installed, whatever you name the certificate. So the next thing you got to do is set your proxy settings. Now, in the emulator, you can just go to this like little 3 dots here. That'll pop into controls for the emulator. In this case, go to settings, go to proxy, go to manual proxy configuration. You'll have to uncheck this use Android Studio settings so you can do this. And again, we're putting that same address so you can see the interface 127.0.0.1. Go, apply, and it'll say success if the proxy has started correctly. And I guess we're really good on super time, so now we can go into a demo. By the way, do we have any questions yet? Feel free to prompt. We're doing really well on time.
So far, no questions in the question and answers here, but I was over at the Slack channel, and someone asked, can you run an Android Studio in a virtual machine?
I would assume that you could. I wouldn't see why you couldn't. As long as you're running a VM that supports Android Studio, it should work.
Awesome. And the only other comment, we have a couple people mentioning that audio is cutting in and out. That happened with the last speaker a little bit too. If you could be diligent and keeping the mic by your mouth, that would be amazing.
Okay, can do.
Great.
I can also up my levels a little bit if that helps.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. So next thing in the demo. So this right here is Android Studio's emulator. In this case, I just downloaded. There's a lot of Play Store mirrors out there. It's usually easier to have to do is really download the APK, drag it and drop it straight into, and it'll install. I picked some dating apps. So here on YoQt, I've got my intercept set on, and we can go ahead and do things. Let's WebSockets message. So let's see what we can do. So if I hit gender to male, we'll see that sends a patch. The patch goes to, I'm assuming this is my user identifier on the back end, and it's gender male. Well, I'm going to go ahead and send that to the repeater, and I'm going to drop. Okay, and we'll see. It's generating some kind of error there in the JSON. Okay. Now in the burps repeater. Repeater is a fantastic tool. It lets you modify all sorts of things in your request, and then you can send them and see what sort of responses you get. So it only lets me set male and female. Set anything else. Let's see what happens. I honestly have no idea what this is. Okay, bad request. So they did have some validation in place and tell me that value is not valid. I'm not allowed to identify as a pancake in the app. But what I can do is set my gender back to female. So let's go and do that. Not mess up my JSON. Okay, 200 okay, and I am good to go. So let's go back, see if it's correct. Hey, there we go. It looks like it changed. All right. Oh, of course it's saying, please wait, because I have intercept on. So I'll just go ahead and get through some of these pages. Perfect. Let's see, what else could I do? What can I edit? Okay, fun. Board. What else? A few extra pounds. Let's go with that. Okay, body type. Let's see if I can do anything fun with that. We'll go back to the repeater. And by the way, if you're in Proxy, like right click or do your 2-finger click if you're on a Mac, and you can send the request all sorts of different. In this case, I'm just using repeater. I can try different values. So see what this will let me put in. Oh. Do they validate the body type? Let's find out. Okay, they do. I will go ahead and just forward that. Oh, okay. Well, all right. What other fun things can I do? Oh, so what I can do. So scrolling is a little bit. Is, you know what? I'll do that. So I can change my about me. And we'll see what that request looks like. Okay, and we do see a patch request info about me. Just here for the lulz. We're going to go ahead and send that to the repeater. Okay, accept. When it send. And again, we can say, hey, got a 200 okay. And if we go back to here, cancel, scroll back up, retry. You know what, I'm just gonna drop that request, and turn intercept off just. It did not take my, okay, let's try that again. So we'll go back to that patch request. I'll hit send. That's 200 okay. Maybe it's not refreshing. Let's go ahead and just change your nickname. Input is not valid. Oh, wait. Do this. Intercept okay. Save. And I'm going to go ahead and send it to the repeater. And I'm actually going to drop that request. It still saves the app side, oddly enough. But if I go to repeater, and then I send it after I drop the packet, it will give me the 200 okay. And let's see, I think I can pull up a port or something. I haven't really used this app much. I just downloaded it for most. So, oh, of course. Proxy, let's go ahead and report. So if you do have intercept on, it's going to block loading things. Cool. Go ahead and do that. Hey, though, we do see the name updated. That's now my nickname is Hungry for Pancakes. And you know what? That will cap off the demo portion of the first part of this. So let me go ahead and close those down and I can switch gears here. So this right here is Serato. This is a DJ program. I'm going to come back to this in just a sec. So for the second part, we're going to go into an intro into multi-genre DJ mix. Now right here below is the mixer that I use, a Roland DJ 808. It has a drum machine built into the top. And I'm speaking to you through the mic processing unit here on the right now. So kind of going off into the beginning of this, hardware and software. Now, for multi-genre mixing, really you could use anything. Whether you're really old school and you're just rolling with SL1200, techniques, you would. Now, if you want, you can still use that with software. Right here is a Rain 61 mixer that actually has what we call DVS support built in. So what you do is you get timecode vinyls, throw them on your turntables, and a program like Serato can natively take that and translate it to control in the software. Pretty cool. If you're first getting started out in DJing, maybe you go something like this. This is a Gemini Slate. It's a DJ controller built for Serato. Comes with Serato intro. So we have jog wheels either side, compared to what we'd have in a CDJ. Along the center, we've got EQs. So you've got like your highs, your mids, your lows, the filter. Even has controllers. So honestly, pretty well featured as far as something that's I think those go for like $100. So bad. All of these things, they're going to be compatible with Serato. Now, if you want to go with the club standard, Pioneer makes the CDJs. The current running favorite for most clubs is going to be the NSX2s, Nexus, this DJM 900 mixer in the center. Now, that'll run with software called RecordBot. They also make intro level hardware controllers similar to what we have here for Serato. They do make similar things for RecordBot. If you're not willing to go up, $6.5 grand on a pair of CDJs compatible mixer. Now, if you're just getting started out in DJing or you're interested and you want to try it out, honestly, the way that I started, well, first off, I learned to mix on some like really, really old CDJs, but the first thing that I had at home to work with was an ancient computer. No joke. I hauled around a CRT monitor to parties when I first started DJing. What finally stopped me was leaving them there overnight. Oh, there's no way anyone would steal this, surely. I mean, the CRT monitor that I was using, they had a Lego block duct taped to the power button because the old power button was someone stole it. Anyway, that will work with virtual DJ. You know, if you've got a laptop, there's a lot of stuff for tablets nowadays. So honestly, if you're wanting to get into this hobby or side hustle, there's never a better time. Now, kind of going into DJ theory, sort of the basics. Beat match is something that's very critical to know. It's really what it is. It's adjusting the tempo or what we call the pitch of different tracks so that they can be mixed together. Now, if you're in a club and you hear someone messed up when you're beat matching, we often hear what we like to call shoes in the dryer. That, but it's pretty obvious when it happens. It could be from a variety of things. I'll go to that in the next slide. Now, another thing to keep in mind, most dance music written in 4/4 key signature, which 4 beats to a measure of music. If you run into some weird key signatures, sometimes some genres, some producers, I don't know if they're trolling or you just want to get creative, but if you find something in 7/8, you try to mix it in 4/4, you're gonna have a bad time. Now, for beat matching, here's an example of a tempo mismatch. Now, this is, so the tempo of one track is not in line with the other, and you'll kind of see this in the waveform, where this one's going a bit slower and this one's going a bit faster. So they really start to get out of time with each other and it starts to sound like total garbage. Again, shoes in the dryer. Now, another thing that could happen is a phase mismatch. This would be like when you have the tempos where like maybe these are both house tracks. So let's say we're saying 126 beats per minute. But you started one a little bit, something like that. That's a phase mismatch. Now, when you do it correctly, this is what a beat match would look like in a visualizer, where you can see each section of the beat is right lined up with the other. And as long as your EQ is right, those two tracks are going to sound pretty good normally. Now, beyond beat matching, we can go into phrase matching. So this would be more keeping melodies in line with each other, taking different sections. Like let's say you've got a breakdown of one track, got an intro of another track, and you can tell you're like, okay, I'm counting the measures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. And you see, okay, I've got about 16 bars left in the breakdown before it drops into genre of music, what a drop might be. Maybe a beat comes back in, maybe it's a dubstep. But if you line things up correctly, it's going to sound much better, much more musical. Now, beyond that, the last thing I want to touch on as far as concept go is harmonic mixing. So on the left, we have the circle of fifths. The circle of fifths has been around since the 1600s. It's been used by composers. So what we have are different keys of music that have dominant and subdominant relationships to each other. So what you do is you would essentially transition between keys, either clockwise or counterclockwise. Likewise, you have the majors. Major keys are on the outside of the ring. Minor keys are on the inside of the ring. Now, because it's hard to remember, like, okay, I'm in C. Do I need to go to G? Do I need to go to B? It's much easier to do a numerical system. Now, this is what Mixed in Key came up with. It's called the Camelot wheel or the Camelot notation, Camelot system. And what they've done is they've taken the circle of fifths and boiled it down into something that's easier to use whenever you're mixing music. So you'll notice it is essentially the same thing. So like C major is just out here an 8, whereas it's, you know, like the 12 o'clock position on the circle of fifths. But if you looked at everything and compared the keys, same thing, just rotated differently. Another thing though, is if you're moving from a major key to a minor key or vice versa, the A to the B relationship will let you mix between those. Conversely, you can mix in the same key, you can mix across this, or you can mix counterclockwise. So counterclockwise versus clockwise. It's going to work out pretty well for you if you're doing harmonic mixing. So now I can go into the next portion of things. Here's my DJ side of the demo. I'm going to go ahead and maneuver things here real quick. If you have any questions, feel free to drop those in. I'm going to take a sec to move things around. So I can't actually see my webcam right now. Does that look okay?
Yep. Hold on. Yes, we have full view of your laptop and your equipment. Now we see your beautiful blue list.
Thank you so much. Okay, so literally switching hats now. Okay, so can you see Serato?
We can.
Perfect. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cue things up. That these have key relationships, but tempos that are pretty far apart from each other. Dealing with a quick hardware reboot. Let's see where we're at. And for some reason, it is not letting me load in, which is really weird. Fortunately, given the way that demo gods tend to be, I'm going to go ahead and just load up a video I recorded. Always come prepared.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
It's the 10 hack commandments. Can't tell me nothing about this crypto. It's old 80s forensics, strictly for my hackers. Hackers on the grind. I ain't forget all my port scanners, all my SQL injectors, my exploit devs. I've been in this game for years. It made me an animal. There's rules to these bits. Man page for the manual. A step-by-step booklet for you to get your back doors patched, not your house ransacked. Rule number uno, never let no one know how much code you hold. Cause you know, the 0-day heap will spray, clear the way. If the log file touch, get your hard line cut. Number 2, never let them know your next move. Don't you know bad boys moving silence and pirate, taking from your wireless. I done flashed mad chips with these hacks just to patch these bits. Number 3, never trust nobody. IRC is bad luck when you chat too much. Logged and tapped up, feds got mass plugs. They'll be waiting with the warrant to snatch your stash up. Number 4, know you heard this before. Shut the Number 5, never do no hacks where you rest at. I don't care if If you own a house, use a bounce. Number 6, any log, clear text, forget it. Encrypt all your data, take those bytes off the record. 7, this rule is so underrated. Keep identities and profiles completely separated. Cookies and lies don't mix like 2 bits and 1 snitch. Find yourself Guantanamo quick. Number 8, never keep no weight on you. Those cats that run your hacks can jack coins too. Number 9 should have been number 1 to me. Use your right to your attorney, keep away from police. If people think you're talking, they will give an option. An option, and on your box, and ready. Number 10, shut the actual up. The easiest of rules, but it still bears repeating, cause you'll want the recognition for your revenue increasing. Discard accounts, randomized handles. Law enforcement loves attacks on side channels. Burn your identities, credit card cancel. Avoid being the topic of a DEF CON panel. Don't bet your future on just a few tools. Even onion sites can have leaks too. Be smart about your OPSEC, think things through. They found DPR, they'll come find you. It's true, it's true.
All right, so that is all in that demo, folks. I think we might have a little bit of time for questions here. See if I can go ahead and get my webcam operating again. Let's see. Oh, one question I had in Slack. So tempos, mixing tracks with different tempos. The best way to go about doing that, honestly, is just to change the tempo, or you can do kind of what I did with the hack commandments and the drum and bass track. So you'll notice hack commandments was, I want to say, 87 beats per minute. The drum and bass track was originally 175. I bumped it down to 174. Quick math is twice what 87 is. So you can do that halftime, double time mix, and it works for a lot of things. Hip hop and drum and bass work particularly well because a lot of them are based in break beats. So since they're not on 4/4, the two tend to go pretty well together. The halftime feel of drum and bass against a hip hop track really blends. But then you can also do kind of dramatic things, like sometimes, like let's say I'm playing a house track or even a techno track at like 130 beats per minute. You can gradually decrease the pitch on the mixer, and you can even do like a key down, depending on the type of mixer you're using. Like if you're using turntables, you're going to have a little less control of your pitch compared to CDJs, and then controllers. I mean, I can do plus minus 50% in Serato. Do we have any other questions? Oh, Serato work on Linux. I've never tried running Serato on Linux. It does work on Windows and Mac. I actually am running on a MacBook Pro right now.
All right. Well, thank you very much. That was an amazing couple of talks, and I know I instantly started bouncing around when the beat was getting dropped. So that definitely was a brightening spot of my morning. So thank you very much, Devin. Did you, by any chance, drop in your SoundCloud?
Oh, you know what? I forgot to put that in there. Let me just load it up really quick. Here, I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, let's. Okay, you see this screen right here, right? Okay, perfect. You know, I meant to throw the slides. I will throw some stuff into the slides when I go ahead and upload them. But my SoundCloud is going to find me on most things. So soundcloud.com/EchozAurora. Yes, I do have a SoundCloud. Also have a Mixcloud, which is designed for DJing. I just uploaded a drum and bass mix. It's very rare I stay in one genre for an entire mix. In fact, the mix I have on SoundCloud at the moment is from a show I played back in January, supporting Mimosa, and that was all over the place for like 40 minutes. So kind of depending on what people like, I like to kind of shape my music sets around the audience that I'm playing to.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate it.